What's going on? Usually I make my videos with the red light on. You know what? Fuck it. I'll make it with the red light on again. I don't really give a shit if anyone can see me. There's not really much to see anyway. All I'm doing is fucking talking, right? But, you don't have to look at my ugly face. My girlfriend was complaining about me. Oh, you can't see yourself. There's nothing to see anyway. Anyways, I'm taking a reset up here in New York. Saturday night. It's cold as shit here. It's like 30 degrees, freezing. I like it though. I enjoy it. But on one of my videos, a guy named Mike Reed, whatever, he asked me a question, and I was gonna reply to the question, but I figured instead of just replying to his question, let me make a video about it. Let me explain it a little bit more. And I kind of went over this before in other videos, but let me go a little more into depth on the miles and the money you make for Western, right? Let me talk about it a little bit more, right? Because if you're gonna come and work for Western, that's the biggest question. How much money am I gonna make? All this other shit, right? Well, let me add in a little disclaimer. Is I'm gonna let you know what the norm is. What I do, and some of the other drivers I've talked to, some of the information I've gotten from them, and stuff like that. Hold on one second. I had to turn my damn thermostat on. Make sure the truck doesn't shut off. But, okay, so you start out, unless they've changed it, when you start out here working flatbed, you're gonna make 40 cents a mile. You're gonna make 40 cents a mile starting out, right? Sorry if that idle's loud. I'm charging up my batteries. My heater ran my battery down. But alright, so you're gonna start out making 40 cents a mile, right? Now, as a solo driver, like, I average about 2,500 miles a week, right? Now, that may not seem like that much to some of you guys. For me, that's exactly what my target is, what it was coming into truck driving, is running about 10,000 miles a month. That's it's good money to me. It pays my bills. I have some extra. So $2,500 or $2,500, yeah, that'd be nice. 2,500 miles a week is about the average. Now I say the average because on my shittiest week, I only ran about 1,200 miles. But that was a really shitty week. That is not the norm. There was a lot of other factors that came into play. And like, okay, last week I was running real fucking hard, had some good loads. My DM was on his fucking game as he usually is. I ran 3,250 miles last week, right? But you're gonna run 3,250 miles, I was getting up 4 or 5 in the morning, running all fucking day, dropping a load, picking up a load, 5 a.m. the next morning, just going. Once you stop, use your 10-hour break, and as soon as that 10 hours ticks over, fucking start the clock, do your pre-trip, and get going. As soon as that 10 hours that turns over. Be fucking sleeping for no 13 hours or whatever the fuck. You gotta hustle to get that 3,200 miles, and you gotta get some good loads. But I average about 2,500 miles a week, right? This week, like, I'll turn my loads in Monday, and with this load included that's on my truck right now that I'll deliver Monday, I'll have about I think 2,300 miles for the week. And this is kind of a slow week. I would have had more miles, but I had to take this reset, so I'm taking today off. and my DM he knew that, gave me a short load for the weekend so I could get a reset in. So I'm gonna do about 2,300 miles on a short week, right? So let's break it down real quick, okay? It's no secret to what we make, right? Let's see. On average, I run 2,500 miles a week. So 2,500, and that's at 40 cents a mile, 0.40. That's $1,000. 40 cents a mile, $2,500 a week. That's at $1,000, right? So if you shave some shave taxes off that, say your deductions, Social Security, all that bullshit's gonna be about $200. On average, my average is about $800 a week, but that's just miles. That's not including my TARP pay, retention pay if I happen to get it, which is not very often, but TARP pay all the fucking time. That's $25 a TARP load. All three of my loads, I think, were TARP loads, so $7,500, or $75. NYC pay, if you happen to go there, that's $50 every time you got to pick up or deliver in New York City, so it adds up. It adds up real fucking fast, especially if you run, even if you run 5 short loads in a week, but if they're all TARP loads, that's $125 in TARP pay you're gonna get just that week. It adds up. So, like that guy Mike asked in his question, he said a lot of the drivers, from what I hear, a lot of the drivers are saying they average 2,000 miles a week. Do you even get close to 3,000? Not very often. 2,500 for me is the norm. Other drivers that maybe they're making 2,000 miles a week. That's very possible, But I would probably be doing about 2,000 a week if I was on a fucking dedicated or a regional, or I wasn't staying on my fucking game. I wasn't utilizing all my fucking time that was possible. I get those loads done as quick as I possibly can. I manage my time very strictly. I'm very strict about managing all of my time. I don't waste minutes, because you start wasting minutes, they turn into fucking hours. You done wasted hours. You waste hours, you're wasting loads. That's fucking money, So you gotta stay on your game. So me, I hustle as hard as I can, and 2,500 miles, 3,250 miles, I hustled that, got it done, Stay on dispatch, don't let them fuck you around, especially the night and weekend motherfuckers, You can't, you gotta, like I dropped a load at a fucking drop yard, and I was supposed to pull another load out of there, 800 miles to New Hampshire on the weekend. And I was like, I need a trailer number, need the info. And they're like, oh, we don't know what you're talking about and shit. And I had to keep sending messages, hey, I need to know what fucking trailer I'm taking, So, eventually, I found out, got the trailer, took it to New Hampshire. They cost me a few hours, but it's valuable fucking time, but it is what it is, it's night and weekend dispatch, it is, they're not on, they're probably sitting around watching SportsCenter all night. I'm sorry, they probably are, but when you say, do you guys ever get around 3,000 miles? Rarely. But you gotta understand this. I'm not pulling dry van. I'm not pulling reefer. I'm not hauling food. I'm not hauling lettuce and chocolate bars or paper towels, fucking teddy bears and shit like that. I'm not hauling that. We're hauling fucking steel and lumber, things like that. Steel coils and shit, rebar. So, what I'm trying to say is you're gonna spend a certain amount of hours your week tarping loads, securing loads, bungeeing fucking tarps, securing building bulkheads on the trailer, securing your timbers, securing things on your headache rack. I got a 6-foot ladder, I got my chains, I got my straps, I got my V-boards, you got coil racks, you got, things to keep up with. You got shit you gotta organize. Your V-boards break, You know, I like the other day, I spent a little bit of time rebuilding my V-boards because a lot of them were screwed up. You know, there's more to this, to flatbedding, than there is to dry van. We don't just pull into a distribution center, back into a dock, and sit there and get loaded. We don't do that shit. We're driving out to the middle of nowhere to a farm to pick up hay. So you gotta find a farmer, drive out to the hay field, and then he's gonna have one of his farmhands go out there and load your trailer. Or you're going to an Amish wood shop where they're building fucking mailbox posts, you know? There's gonna be times where you're driving through mud. You know, you're in some fucking steel yard that makes railroad rails, and they're gonna load rails on you. You gotta drive through mud and potholes and all kinds of shit. You know, we're not driving around on concrete, you know. DC's big old Walmart, Dollar General shit right off the interstate, right off the freeway, and you just jump right back on. We're coming out of the absolute middle of fucking nowhere. Little tiny towns, you know, in the middle of mountains and you name it, any armpit of this country, you know, any tiny little place you never even fucking knew existed. We're driving out there to pick up loads. You drive out to the middle of fucking nowhere like this load, just out in the mountains of fucking Pennsylvania, in some tiny little town, big factory. Half the people in town probably work at the factory. You know, it's the biggest thing there. You know, they make doors and windows and shit. I'm hauling a bunch of, it's like particle wood that they cut doors out of. Like what your garage doors are probably made out of, you know? Hauling a bunch of that shit. That's very time-consuming shit. We haul very time-consuming loads. We don't back to a dock and get loaded by a forklift and then slam the doors, seal it, and you're gone. Not every time, you know? Every so often, maybe. But most of the shit we haul isn't on pallets, you know? Very rarely is it. Maybe if you're hauling shingles or something. My point is, you pull up, you may go to a steel yard where you gotta pull in, you gotta wait behind other trucks in a line, you gotta wait for a crane, you know? If you're hauling coils, you're hauling big steel coils, very dangerous load. They need to be set up very specifically and very properly, right? You gotta be on your fucking game hauling coils. Very dangerous load. You gotta set up your coil racks, get your timbers out, you're gonna need tarps, you're gonna need straps, bungees, chains, binders, you're gonna need all that shit. Your fucking edge protectors, get all that out on the trailer, build it, they're gonna drop the coils, then, you know, you may spend 2.5, 3 hours securing and tarping a load, depending on conditions, you know? So that's why it's harder to get that 3,000 how many ever miles, because you're gonna spend a lot of time of your week securing loads, you know? There's a lot of extra shit to do, you know? And even when you stop at the truck stop, it ain't just you stop the truck, pull the brakes, you know, do your post trip, whatever, and then jump in the sleeper and hang out. No, you need to hop out, even if it's raining, freezing, snowing. You gotta check your straps, check your chain. So, you know, like, I grabbed some coils out of Ohio, and it was cold as hell, raining balls. I had 2 tarp coils, had some chains come loose. I'm out there in the rain, re-securing the chains, tightening the chains, you know, checking my straps. You're gonna be tightening straps. You're gonna have bungees that are gonna snap. You're gonna notice when you look at going down the road, you're gonna see your tarp is bubbling, the air's pushing it out. You're gonna say, okay, when I stop, I gotta throw some bungees on that, bring it back in. It's a lot more to it. You know, you gotta babysit that fucking load. You know, you gotta, like, when I check that load in the mirror probably every 10 to 20 seconds. I look at straps, make sure they're not flapping, make sure I don't have any broken straps dragging on the ground. I look at, you know, the tarp. I check that load absolutely constantly. You know, I mean, I haven't driven van. I mean, I'm sure you just cruise down the road. They sealed my trailer. I can't even look inside of it. I don't give a fuck, whatever. I'm not overweight, I ain't worried about it. You know? It ain't like that. No, you gotta babysit that load constantly, right? And you have to drive for that load. Some loads you gotta drive more differently. Like this load I'm hauling is very, very top heavy. It's very tall, it's very skinny. You know, it's a shitty load. It's dangerous, but you know, you secure it properly, you don't got nothing to worry about. But you gotta check that shit. So you know, flatbedder, that's the reason why we get paid 40 cents a mile. We get paid more by the mile because we do more work. We work on that load more. We get less miles because of it, you know? Like you haul reefer, you know, like I know a couple people that work for Stevens Transport. They haul reefers. You know, you get a food load. Reefer loads are fucking long. You know, you may come out of Canada, run down to California or something. You know, it depends. You know, they got oranges in Florida. We're hauling them to Wisconsin. Then we're hauling cheese out of Wisconsin to Pennsylvania, and then chocolate from Hershey out to fucking Iowa. You know, you get some long loads hauling reefer. You know, but they don't get paid as much per mile. You know, there's a lot of companies hauling dry van. You ain't gonna get paid as much per mile. You know, so look at it how you want to look at it. I like it. I enjoy the shit out of it. You know, it keeps me from turning into too much of a fat fuck. You know, and I'm able to, you know, I like work. You know, I don't just want to sit and hold the steering wheel and drive all day. Not all day. You know, I like getting out there. You know, and like when you deliver, pull that tarp down while, you know, undo all the straps, break down the whole load while they're unloading. You're folding tarps, you know, and rolling up straps and getting all your bungees together. You're putting all your shit away, and by the time they'll probably unload you, and you're still putting your shit away, you know. And then you jump. You know, you're not hanging out in a truck fucking around on Facebook while you're getting unloaded. No, you're working, dude. And as soon as you get to the next place, you're out working again. The whole time, sometimes you gotta help the forklift guys center all the shit on your trailer and stuff like that. You know, there's places we'll go. It'll take 6 fucking hours to get loaded. You haul like our distribution centers when we're hauling flatbed. Sometimes, especially home improvement places, Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, they have flatbed distribution centers. You may go to, like, if you're lucky, they have preloaded trailers. If not, you got to drive to the lumber yard and they'll load you up with lumber. Then you drive to the steel yard and they load you with steel. Then you drive to where they have sheetrock. They'll give you sheetrock. Then you load to where they have their ladders. They'll put some ladders up there, throw a few more straps up there. Then you go to where they have wooden trusses. They'll put some trusses up there. Then you go to this fucking yard and it could take you 6 fucking hours just to get loaded. And then, like, I talked to a guy the other day. They finally got him loaded after like 5 hours. Then he was overweight. He had to go back and then wait for them to unload some shit, strap it again, weigh it again, then he was able to go. It's just the nature of the fucking beast, man. I mean, you gotta deal with it, or else, hey, go fucking haul a dry van. Or, you know, get your hazmat, or get your tanker, go haul a tanker or some shit, you know? But me, I like it. I like having to put on the boots and hard hat sometimes and crawl up on top of a fucking 13-foot load and shit with no fucking, you know, no fall restraints, and, you know, you're kind of looking off the edge like, fuck, you know? I mean, I like it. I like the work. I really do. I hate it and I love it at the same time. It's the most fucked up shit. But, I mean, if, you know, I'm making money. You know, that 13, you know, let's just say that 1,350 miles I ran, I pulled home $1,200. That's after taxes. $1,200 in 1 week. You know, I'm averaging about $800 a week. $700 on the slower weeks. It's not bad money. You gotta fucking work for it though, but it's not bad money. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I mean, I average 2,500 miles. You know, you don't average this many miles starting out because you're still getting the hang of shit. There's a lot of things you're gonna learn out here the hard way that you have to learn from. There's a lot of shit. I can't even get into all the things, all the shippers that, like, you're gonna get lost. Steel mills that are fucking the size of small towns. You're gonna get lost because you can't find a fucking warehouse you're looking for to get loaded. You know, just all kinds of shit, like little roads and highways and stuff that you're gonna get lost on, and, you know, just stuff you should have known, but you're like, oh fuck, I'll never make that mistake again. So once you figure a lot of that shit out, you become a lot more efficient. You know, you start learning how things go. You can start getting in and out of these shippers and receivers faster because you know how things work. You know where to go, who to talk to, and how to get loaded, unloaded faster. You know, you show up with a bunch of other trucks, whoever has their shit ready is getting loaded. You know, you got your coil rack set up, whatever. You're the guys getting loaded first. So, you know, you learn that shit. You will get more miles as you get experience, you know. But a couple months in, you know, my bills are getting fucking paid. You know, I'm doing fine. They keep pressing me to become a trainer. I don't know about that shit. I still don't know. You know, but anyways, I hope that answered your question. Any more questions? Shoot them at me. I may not make a fucking video about them, but I'll still answer them, you know. I like to be fucking helpful, so. Alright, well, I hope that explained it. I'm gonna watch this fucking movie now, so I'll hit you guys later.